based on the comments that I've had since I got here, I realized that for some of you, I haven't seen you for about a year. I recognize most of the faces, so I will answer publicly what I've been answering privately. No, I'm not sick. I have purposely lost about 40 pounds. And the issue is, I realized about a year ago, okay, I'm ugly and I'm fat. I can't fix the ugly, but I can fix the fat. Next thing is for you who are in the precinct committeeman seat, that's a very, very powerful position, more so than you might know. Piece of trivia, I was appointed my first year. Senator McKenzie was in office, and at that time Representative Baer was in office. And I was appointed via the precinct committeeman process when my predecessor resigned mid-term. That's a responsibility of precinct committeemen that most people may not know. And so for those of you in those roles, it's a much more responsible role than you might understand. Another piece of family trivia. We're actually logistically in a place that's really important to my family. Exactly 3 miles to the north, in 1889, not 1989, but 1889, the family on my mother's side homesteaded where the Kohl's department store currently sits on Eagle and Houston Road now, in the town of Hunt, not Meridian, because Meridian didn't exist, it was Hunt. And exactly 3 miles to the south, my father's side of the family homesteaded in 1919, where my mother, who is 87 years old, still lives today, where I grew up on a dairy farm. So, this is my home, and our roots are very, very deep here. I want to simplify the comments that have been made tonight and encourage you, on behalf of Rick Visser, Curt McKenzie, and Cliff Baer. Here's the bottom line, okay? Those of us in elected office really have two choices 99% of the time with the decisions that come before us. Either one, we choose to side on behalf of the individual, or number two, we choose to side on behalf of the government. I mean, that's basically, whether it's legislation or a court decision, almost always that decision point comes down to, do you empower the individual or do you empower the government? I mean, that's a gross oversimplification, but frankly, that's the bottom line. I would submit to you that I believe Rick Visser and Curt McKenzie and Cliff Baer, their default position, and mine, by the way, is on behalf of the individual. We are living in a time which I believe is the most interesting time in the history of the world. I believe that. And the pendulum has swung from where our founders intended, which was the pinnacle of governments belongs to the individual, to the pinnacle of governments belongs to the government. That pendulum has swung. And I believe that as a court justice, as a county commissioner, as a state senator, as a governor, that our job is to try to right-size that to the point where, it's really the people that's in charge. So that's like I say, that's a gross oversimplification, but that's where I am at today. On tomorrow, we're going to have a monumental presidential election. And I personally have thought about that a lot. And selfishly, I'll tell you why. We've done our homework, folks, and if the landscape for the race of governor remains similar to what it is right now, we have a very